History is full of strange twists, but some coincidences are just too weird to believe. From eerily identical lives to deaths foretold by fiction, here are 15 bizarre historical coincidences that will blow your mind. It struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic and sank, killing nearly everyone aboard. Amazingly, they both died on the same day, July 4th, 1826, exactly. 50 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence. 14 years later, the Titanic met the exact same fate, with eerily similar size, route, and even the lack of lifeboats. The Hoover Dam's first and last fatalities were father and son. The first recorded death during the Hoover Dam's construction was J.G. Tierney, who drowned while surveying. They both came to power in their 40s, invaded Russia, and were ultimately defeated. Even their rise and fall timelines eerily align. Exactly 13 years later to the day, the last death was his son, Patrick Tierney, who died in a construction accident. Next day. 1. The Titanic was predicted 14 years before it sank in 1898. Author Morgan Robertson wrote a novella called Futility about a massive unsinkable ship named the Titan. King Umberto's doppelganger in 1900. King Umberto I of Italy met a man in a restaurant who looked exactly like him and shared his name, birthday, and job as a restaurateur. The next day, both men died in separate incidents within hours of each other. 2. The deaths of Thomas Jefferson and John Adams' founding fathers. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams were rivals and close friends. But 5 years earlier, a novel called The Wreck of the Titan featured a similar hydrogen-filled airship exploding midair with nearly identical details. 3. A baby saved by Winston Churchill grew up to save Churchill's life and then succeeded by accident in 1918. A young Adolf Hitler was in the sights of a British soldier who spared him out of pity. Twice a man named Tsutomu Yamaguchi survived the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. He fled to Nagasaki, only to be bombed again 3 days later. Let us know which one surprised you the most in the comments. He lived to tell the tale and died at age 93. Years later in World War II, Hitler recognized Tandy in a photo and reportedly remembered the moment. Some believe this choice changed the entire course of history. Both were succeeded by men named Johnson, born 100 years apart. Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy, and Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln. The list goes on, and it's bizarrely long. That soldier unknowingly saved the life of the future dictator of Nazi Germany. The falling baby was saved, twice, by the same man in 1930s Detroit. A baby fell out of a second-story window and was caught by a man named Joseph Figlich. He famously predicted he would die when it returned. In 1910, the comet came back, and Twain died the next day. Some coincidences are just too strange to explain. A year later, the same baby fell again from the same window, and Joseph Figlich was there to catch him again. She survived all of them, including the Titanic sinking and the Britannic hitting a mine in WWI when Churchill was a baby. He nearly drowned in a pond. He was rescued by a gardener's son named Alexander Fleming. Just 3 days later, Hitler launched Operation Barbarossa, invading the Soviet Union. Years later, Fleming discovered penicillin, which ended up saving Churchill's life when he fell ill. During World War II, 4-5, Napoleon and Hitler were born 129 years apart and followed the same path. Napoleon was born in 1769, Hitler in 1889, exactly 129 years later. 6. The Curse of Tamerlane. In World War II, Soviet archaeologists opened the tomb of Tamerlane, a 14th-century conqueror, on June 19, 1941. Despite warnings of a curse. 7. The unsinkable Violet Jessup survived all 3 sister ships. Violet Jessup was a stewardess aboard the Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic. All 3 massive ships met disaster. 8. 9. The novel that predicted the Hindenburg disaster in 1937. The airship Hindenburg exploded in New Jersey. 10. The assassin who failed. 11. The bullet that waited 20 years during WWI. A soldier named Henry Tandy supposedly spared Hitler's life. 12. 13. Lincoln and Kennedy parallels. Lincoln was elected in 1860. 14. The lottery winner who died. 15. The simultaneous death of Twain and Halley's comet. Mark Twain was born in 1835. The same year Halley's comet passed Earth. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe and get more oddly true facts that sound fake.